Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. In this video episode we're going to be showing you how we form these barrel dormers. So these are barrel to flat roof dormers. We've got one large one here at the front of the property, two at the back. So yeah, let's get into it and show you how we did it. So what I'm going to be showing you today is us making some barrel dormers. So the first thing what we do is we find out our radius. We know from the plan it's 450 and then the overall window width is 900. 450 times 2 is 900. So I've actually made it 452.5. That gives a bit of tolerance all the way around. So measuring from the end here, 452.5 is here, and the ribs are 150. So I've come another 150 off that, which is here. If I mark this, that's the outside of my rib. Like so. Okay. If I move screw, back to that hole. Now mark the inner of the rib. Like so. As long as you've got the correct pivot point, that's where the rib's going to be. So what I do now, I come up here 150, mark that, 150, mark that, connect this line, do the same there, and then we want to cut this out. How we do it perfectly, I'll show you now. So I made a jig up. Again, I've got 2 points, same as on the batten. One here, one here. So this is the inner, this is the outer. So I made this for my router. Just grab it. Just sit in there. I've taken the guide bush off because we're at the stage now of routing the ribs using the template. But I'll just show you how it works. So as I say, there's a guide bush, was on there, locates into that hole. And this locks the base in. So for the outer radius, I have to measure from the back of the cutter the distance that I want. And then for the inner radius, I measure from the front of the cutter to my pivot point. So essentially it will screw in there, pivot round, like so. When it's on that point, pivot round, like so. And here is our template I've already cut. So this is perfectly routed, both edges here and here, and then we use a track saw to cut the straight cuts. So now what we do is we fix this on top of, well, so we use this, template. We can get 2 ribs out of one for 2 of the dormers, and then the third dormer's bigger, so we need to extend them, which we can do because we're 3-plying them together. So we use the template, we draw a line following this but slightly wider so that we can trim off the excess with the router. So I've got a top wheel cutter, so this ball bearing runs around the ribs. So as I say, we mark out the first one, then move this up, and we can get the second one out of there. So I'll just show you now how we're routing those out.
Have been posted blackouts by pupils in the last year. The union found 81%.
show you the process of what we do. So this is our template, which is perfectly routed, and underneath we've got the roughly cut piece or rib that we're now gonna use the template to route around to take off all this waste. So we jigsawed these out. As you can see, we've got about 5-10 mil hanging over the template. So you see I've got a top wheel cutter, so that ball bearing runs around the template and it will just trim off all that waste. So I'll show you on a time lapse now of us, the process of us marking, jigsawing and routing all these. We've got 54 to cut, so I won't film all of it, but yeah, have a look. So we're at the stage now of putting them all together. Well, we've got these built now, which is for the smaller dormers. So there's 12 of those, 6 per dormer. And now, so that's the shorter dormers in width. Now I'm making it for the longer dormers. So what we're doing, this is a full sheet, 244. And I've cut, just double check. Yeah, 2440, so a full sheet. So I need to extend it, each end, just over 750. Like that. And because we've free-plied the ribs together, I've cut. So what we've allowed for is a 167mm overhang to the back of the fascia. So that's bearing in mind there's going to be batten, another layer of ply on the dormers, and then there's an overhang for soffit. So yeah, the calculation, I think the overall length from a 3944. So yeah, the 2440 plus 752 each side, 3944. So to stagger the joint to make it strong, I've cut 467, or yeah, about 467, 468 off each end of this. So I'll glue this onto there, and then I've got a top up of 1220, so that gives us a staggered joint of 470. Then I put another bigger one on the top. So yeah, these two joints will be in line, but there'll be a break of obviously this one. So the glue will hold it all together, the screws will, we're pairing them up. So I'll just make this one up, I'll show you how it works. So, decent amount of glue, following the shape all the way around, and then just a zigzag in between. You want loads of glue because you want it to, these need to bond together, which essentially will then make one solid rib. So then just flush this up. sure it's all nice and flush. Which that is. Can't screw it yet. But I can screw. No. So I've glued that up. Now I need to glue the other one on top. So these. So yeah, plenty of glue. This will all squeeze out. We can scrape it or wipe it off afterwards. Just ensures they're gonna, as I said, bond nicely together. What we will do is put some glue in there, ready for when we add the cleat in. Right. So I've got to line all three up. And then screw through all three with the 50mm screws. These are 18mm, so yeah, three of them it's 54mm. So we go flush with the screws, then they don't stick out. Just make sure it's all nice and flush. So that is. Put some pressure on that. Make sure it doesn't slide. Right there. If I get one at each end. Yeah, so we just repeat the process, pairing up the screws about every 200mm all the way along. Yeah, so then we got this piece, stick that one in between there, glue it all up, screw it all the way through. But yeah, I'll set up a time lapse now of us doing this. It's quite a time consuming process. Okay, so I haven't got much footage of this, but we've got the dormers framed out now, so noggin in between, and then we've got 2x2 timber all the way around the ribs and on the flat roof to create airflow. It's 50mm airflow. So these are at the rear of the property, as you can see. So to achieve these bevels, I just scribed them in this case. You can work them out yeah, mathematically and via, you know, geometrical lines, but for speed just scribed them in. These are the two back ones, as I say, and this is the big one at the front. Lay boards all done. So next stage is 18mm ply, 3 layers of 6mm ply around the curves, stepped fascia detail all around the perimeter, and we're done. Right, so here's the completed dormer roofs here. So as you can see, we formed a stepped fascia detail with 𝐶𝐭 MDF. So we had to route each rib and they're decreasing by about 80mm. We've then glued, screwed and pinned. Pinholes still need filling. We still do have to put another layer of 9mm bendy ply over the top of them because we put 6. It kept sort of breaking in different intervals because it's such a tight curve for it. So we've screwed it, nailed it where we can, and then we're going to, as I say, wrap another layer of 9mm over the top. We just don't have it here. There's a little bit of soffit to do underneath as well, but this is pretty much the finished result. So I'll just show you what we've done. So yeah, these are the back ones. I'll just show you now the one that we've done at the front. Okay. So this is the front dormer roof. It's bigger than the previous two at the back there. The flat roof's wider, but the radius is the same. So I'll just show you this one quickly. The pinholes and mitres have still got to be filled, which I'm going to be doing tomorrow with a hard filler. That'll then be sanded and painted by a decorator. A little bit of soffit to do at the front, and then it's all done. So thanks for watching, guys. See you in the next one.